Welcome to the Underground, the Steel City Underground, the black and gold standard for Pittsburgh Steelers coverage. Now, here's your host, Joe Kuzma and Brian E. Roach.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Steel City Underground podcast. My name is Joe Kuzma, joined here by my good colleague, buddy, and pal, one Mr. Brian E. Roach. Brian, it's been a week since we've seen some Steelers football and since we've been on the horn. Has anything changed? How are you doing?
I'm going to amend that statement to say I feel like it's been well over a week because I'm not sure we saw Steelers football last Thursday, whatever it was.
Bazinga.
So, you know, it's been a while since I've seen real Steelers football.
Oh, yeah. Maybe in Dublin.
No, I'm still not mad. I'm not mad anymore. I'm over it. Sure I am. Yeah, right.
Everybody's mad, and then when you got a few extra days to let the loss simmer from the last game and the way it went down with Flacco and the Bengals, and we're sitting here right in the face of adversity as the Green Bay Packers come to town to Acrisure with their 4-1-1 record to face 4-2 Steelers squad. Just setting the stage a little bit for this game. The Steelers are actually underdogs, 3-point underdogs. Packers are -3, over under 45. So it kind of gives you an idea of where the line is on this game. And if it's anything like what's going on in the NBA, it'll probably stay close to that. So, oh man, I'll tell you what, some craziness. And sometimes it makes you shake your head at some of the things we saw, even going back to last Thursday. We talk about officiating. We talk about, some you know, just in general, it makes you question some of the things, even when they're controversial, whether right or wrong. Hopefully you don't have some of these same setbacks against the Packers. I do feel like Green Bay is kind of limping into Pittsburgh, so that's something to kind of keep in mind as we take a look at the injury report coming up. But of course, the big story here is that Aaron Rodgers finally gets to play his previously former team. He gets both of them in the same year, actually, but this is the one that where they effectively booted him out of the door and went to the Jordan Love era, for better or worse. So Rodgers says that this isn't a revenge game. I don't believe him. I don't believe him for one bit.
I actually do. I don't think he cares.
You don't think he wants to stick one back in them and be like, hey, look, I still had it this whole time. You shouldn't have gotten rid of me. Why did you do, you know?
Here's the reason I don't. Because he did the same thing to Favre, right? You know, I think he understands the transition of the game. You know, they drafted this younger quarterback. They're going to move forward. He knew that was going to happen. I think he has much more animosity towards the Jets for, you know, making him fly out to fire him.
Yeah, that was just absolutely. Do you still want to play? What's your interest in playing football? And just have him there for like 5 minutes. So, you know, I don't know. I still think that he's going to have something that he wants to perform. Show. Yes.
Yeah. Do I think he wants to perform well? Absolutely. But I think he always wants to perform well. I just don't buy that there is going to be any you know, real animosity towards the Packers. You know, I think he's probably beyond that. If it was the first year after, maybe, right? But it's what, we're 3 years removed now. I don't think so.
Aside from the Rodgers drama, which is obviously why this is a Sunday night football game, you know, they put it in prime time, playing his former team for the first time, which we were actually kind of surprised after the trade from the Jets. We were like, wait a minute. But yeah, he did get hurt. They didn't play there last year, or they didn't play each other last year, Green Bay and New York Jets. And do we want to talk about the New York Jets? We were just talking about this offline, but, you know, talking about the Steelers and going with Aaron Rodgers versus all the folks that were upset about not re-signing or extending Justin Fields. Now you got folks on the radio talking about they owe this dude like another $20 million or whatever that they guaranteed over the next year under contract, and how they could get out of it. And you got owners making comments. I'm just going to leave it right there. I think Rodgers was at least the move in the right direction.
Yeah, I don't want to even think about the Jets because they torched us, so I don't want to think about them.
Still, do you think teams are the same teams they were? Even look at the Ravens, from September to now. They just
no, they're not.
Derrick Henry for that matter.
Annoying.
So.
I still can't get past the fact that two of the worst teams in the league put up 30-plus points on our supposedly greatest defense ever. Okay, maybe I'll let it go. Maybe I won't.
The Bengals receivers, it's not like the Jets had Jamar Chase. I'll give you at least that one.
Admittedly.
Yeah, and Joe Flacco has an MVP under his belt, doesn't he? He went to Disney World, so... You called him borderline Hall of Fame on the last episode. I bit my tongue on that. I don't know that he's that elite.
I said he's borderline because everybody else is saying Hall of Fame caliber quarterback, and I'm like, I don't know about that.
Not Hall of Fame. No,
and I think I said borderline at best.
Hall of very good but inconsistent. Because if he were Hall of Fame, it'd be somebody like Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner went. I didn't mean to get into this tangent, but Kurt Warner went from leading the Rams to a Super Bowl. Then he was kind of like middling, and then he went and led the Arizona Cardinals to a Super Bowl, and that really helped him. Joe Flacco's been like around with the Colts, 2 stints with the Browns, the Broncos, and other teams where he has not had success. Then again, he's been on some really bad teams. But anyways, the whole point in saying all of this is among the journeyman quarterbacks or whatever, Steelers have gotten they've got Aaron Rodgers. And this is Aaron Rodgers is the marquee matchup here for the primetime football. Your favorite guy on NBC and Peacock on Sunday Night Football, Chris Collinsworth, will be on the call for that, Brian. And the Pittsburgh Steelers will be wearing their brand new their tweak on the 1933 throwback jerseys. So yellow helmets, gray face masks, the puke-colored pants. But I like them. I think they're kind of cool. They got the city crest up on the shoulder instead of the 1994 NFL Diamond 75th anniversary edition jerseys that were worn by the likes of like a Rod Woodson or a Kevin Green. They had to move the number and switch it with the crest that was in the middle. Oh, aren't you slick? Oh, he's even got you got the real throwback helmet there, buddy.
I'm ready. Put me in, coach.
Looking sharp. I did not put mine on. I was thinking I might wear it on whenever we get to do the post game. I was sitting over here just telling you I was sweat. I can't. You're between the type of and this will be the weather is going to be like 50-ish maybe. It's starting to get crisp and cool. You're just like, how long do I fight putting on the heat? But then the sun's still the sun. I'm driving in the car this morning, and the thing is just roasting me because I'm wearing black, and it's coming right through that window. So, but anyways, the throwback jersey's got a real throwback feel to it. I don't remember the Steelers have not worn anything similar to this in ages since they had the Bumblebee jerseys. We've had block numbers and they've had the color rush jersey. So I think that Pittsburgh's going to be rocking for this one, but no maps this time, Brian. Sunday Night Football,
It'd
NBC,
be just a big
Peacock.
blue map.
Yeah, it's just everybody, national game, pull out the rabbit ears, get it on your local NBC station. For those that might be watching or trying to listen to this too, this is national radio, Westwood One Sports. You've got Ryan Radke and Mike Golick on that call. You could find it for the Steelers feeds on Sirius 85, XM 225, 826 on the internet, which is pretty consistent there. The national feed, of course, will be on Sirius XM NFL Radio channel 88, and I believe that'll be the Westwood One call, of course, with Radke and Golick. They're pretty good. I like those guys. Of course, the Steelers audio network is Rob King, Max Starks, Missy Matthews, and then, of course, the NBC feed, as I mentioned, Chris Collinsworthless with Mike Tirico on the play-by-play, and Melissa Stark is your field reporter. Oh, and our referee. I don't know if you got this word. We've been talking about the officiating, but Sean Hockley on the call. Apple doesn't fall far from the tree from, the old man there. So at least it wasn't... At least it's not John Hussey. They've avoided him so far. I still think that of the games I've watched, he's been the worst. And Clete Blakeman, that guy gets more weird situations than I've ever seen. What was that The fumble that should have been a touchdown, but then the defense, was that the Texans game? I think the week before. Oh my goodness, what a mess that was too. But anyways, the key matchups that we're concerned with here: Rodgers against. Well, we do need some injury updates. Maybe we should do the injury updates because that is a lot to do.
Do that because maybe that'll be important.
Well, it will be important because the Packers. Jeez, let me set this. Let me get this on screen because it's insane the amount of people for Green Bay. Look at this: Aaron Banks, Anthony Belton, Nate Hobbs, Josh Jacobs. You've got limited, you've got full all over the place. Xavier McKinney limited for 2 days. Brandon McManus, a DMP and then limited. So they may have to pull another kicker, which I believe they've already done at least once the previous game when I was watching the Packers. You've got Zach Tom on here, Jordan Morgan. So there's various offensive linemen or people that are playing special teams. Lucas Van Ness, who's had trouble getting on the field all year. Quay Walker, he's on here as full with the neck. I mean, he's kind of been the force next to Micah Parsons, right? Christian Watson, who's always dinged over there, so they always have to lean on other guys. Dontavian Wicks doesn't look good with 2 days of no practice. Evan Williams, Devontae Wyatt, yet another limited defensive lineman. That's a lot of dudes on their defense. I mean, I don't expect them all to sit and it's a night game, but if they're without like Walker and Wyatt, and I don't expect Van Ness to play, and McKinney in the secondary, and Hobbs is a role player there too. I mean, we're talking about 5 or 6 guys here that are, contributors or starters on this Packers defense that could really significantly change the tune. Now, as far as the offense, I'm not as worried. Christian Watson, I feel like his days are starting to pass by. They went and drafted Matt Golden. They've still got, Romeo Doubs. You've got Tucker Kraft, who's, a very slippery tight end who could get open and catches a lot of touchdowns. But on the Steelers side, let's catch their injuries real first before all of the matchups. Looks like Calvin Austin will return. Malik Harrison is still in the window to be brought back to the team. I'm not sure where his role is at this moment, if he were. Will Howard is back in the fold too, and may be in an emergency quarterback type situation, depending on any transactions. The one that we're all monitoring is the calf of Zach Frazier, who was limited, but from his own admission via Brian Batko with the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette. Batko says that Zach Frazier was held out as a precaution versus it being an injury. So that's some good news, and we'll see what happens with the Friday practice report. Of course, TJ Watt, Cameron Hayward, DK Metcalf were all guys that were resting veterans, although there was a limited for TJ with a hip, and then Scotty Miller with the finger had a designation of limited on Thursday. So some things to keep in mind as we do get into the actual key matchups. Aaron Rodgers, can he get the passing game going against the Packers? The Steelers' offensive line against the Packers pass rush, and keeping Rodgers clean, which is something that they have been able to do the last few games. Throw that extra lineman in, use Darnell Washington. You've got Micah Parsons there, and I think Micah Parsons has been neutralized to some degree against other teams, but you can't let him wreck a game. It's kind of that same thing as a Myles Garrett, same level caliber of player. And then, of course, the Steelers defense, and I'm not going to say just against Jordan Love, who I think is capable of making a mistake or two, and the Steelers get some splash plays, but you got to watch out for Josh Jacobs if healthy. That guy is a hammer, and the Steelers have not been good at defending the run over the course of this early season.
My honest opinion right now is it's the Steelers defense against the Steelers defense, right? If they can get their communication issues settled, if they can play sound fundamental football and do the things they're supposed to do, just do your job. The mantra that used to be the mantra all the time, just do your job and everything else will take care of itself. I think that we'd see a major turnaround in their performance. But if they continue to be the sloppy mess that they've been, well, that's a problem.
Yeah, it is very much a problem. Terrell Austin comes out this past week in his press conference as the defensive coordinator and says he changed the way he called the game because of the success that the Bengals had running the football.
Well, okay.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Step back. Change the way you called the game because of the success they had running the football. Okay. What did you just do? Well, okay, you know what? They're running the football well. Let's make sure they can throw well as well, because we want them to have a well-rounded offensive game. You know,
I know, dude. I have the same reaction.
I think I'm done. I'm done with Terrell Austin. I think, dude, you need to go. He needs to go. Out.
I've been done with Terrell Austin going back to last year. Every stop he's had, Detroit, Cincinnati, now here. Just the blitzing, even if you do blitz, the ability to sack the quarterback just goes down for a team that traditionally you have a guy who tied the sack record all time in league history, and he can't find ways to be creative and get him anywhere. You don't stop anything. They've had trouble stopping the run all the way back to last year. I know people are going to say that's part on Tomlin too. Sure it is. I'm sure it is. And I'm sure Tomlin has input on this also, but that was a leaky ship. I also don't like the Sunday or the Thursday night setup. We just saw it with the Vikings and the Chargers. The Vikings go over to LA and got absolutely just the brakes beaten off of them early on. They finally started to come around. There's only so much they could do with Carson Wentz, but I love how everyone says that Herbert torched everybody. I know he threw 3 touchdowns, but he only had 227 yards. That team, they let that Vidal, who's like their 4th or 5th string running back, run all over them too. And that's a team that I was watching because ding, 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 they're coming up on the register, and the Steelers have to go out there and play as well. So I had interest in that, and after seeing, what Kenneth Gainwell did to the Vikings, I start to wonder if Brian Flores, does he have the personnel, or is it scheme, or maybe we're wrong about that too. The same way that people were saying about earlier, we were talking with Justin Fields, and everybody's saying that he should be the chosen one. I was a big Flores supporter. I don't know. All I know is that whatever Austin's been doing hasn't been working, going back to half of the midway through last season, after they played the 2 New York teams there. So this defense, if you can rattle Jordan Love, you'll rattle them. I'm not going to say that they should not make Matt Golden or Matt Golden is just steadily starting to get into the rhythm of playing. I mean, it's been Romeo Doubs. Savion Williams is also a rookie that's part of this group too. They shouldn't strike fear in you like a T. Higgins and Jamar Chase is what I'm getting at. That's what I was going to say.
They're, regardless of the quality of the Packers receivers, whether they're good, bad, or indifferent, they're not T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. There's only twice a year that they're going to face that kind of an animal with that kind of a 2-headed receiving monster, and that's when you face Jamar Higgins and Jamar Higgins. That's what I'm going to call them from now on. It's just one guy, and they're Jamar Higgins.
They're interchangeable.
Or T. Chase. T. Chase, Jamar Higgins, whatever their names are. Anyway, that's it. That 2-headed monster exists only in one place. You absolutely are right. They should not have the same issues with this group of receivers. If they do, it really will tell you something about the defensive backfield of this team and their ability to cover. If they're getting lit up from here, from these guys, it's going to be a long rest of the season.
Yeah, I totally agree. I'm going to flip back over to, I've already mentioned, Tucker Kraft. He's kind of been the release valve for Jordan Love. But you've got the Packers defense, a few names I didn't mention, like Edgerrin Cooper, Rashan Gary. They have what we believe should be a pretty formidable defense. They struggled a little bit with the Bengals and Flacco in the second half of their game that they had there as well. So I'm not going to make it sound like we were talking about maybe the Packers aren't who we thought they were, and I think that's what is going to surface from the game this Sunday, believe it or not. I think some people are they're a little down and out because the Steelers had Flacco come around and do what he did, but that just the short week, man, I tell you. And the Steelers were still in that. If they don't turn the ball over or they force one turnover, I think that game ends up being different. You might be talking about the Steelers being 5-1 instead. So the Packers last week too had a little bit of a struggle with the Arizona Cardinals that they had to climb out of with 14 fourth quarter points. So as long as the Steelers keep their foot on the gas, pass. I like their chances in this game. They just got to keep Rodgers upright. I do think that guys like Keyshawn Nixon, Nate Hobbs is a little, use the pun. He's hobbled. We see him on the injury report. Javon Bullard. I look at the linebackers with Cooper, like a Quay Walker. You're getting the bobble ready, right? I hear him. He's relentless. He can't help but pitch in. What I'm trying to get at here is the Steelers' game plan of being heavy with the tight ends. They should create some matchup problems with these corners. Hopefully, they get rid of the ball quick enough. You've got Calvin Austin back. I think Calvin Austin will he'll especially help if the defense could force some punts. We didn't even know who the Bengals punter was, but let's just hope they got a little bit of extra rest with this mini bye and they're ready to come out and play.
All right, I want everybody to know how I let the bobble choose, right? So I don't. People might be going, "Oh, it's just you. The bobble is just you," and so you're now just hedging your bets. When he says no and you say yes, you're just hedging your bets. No. The bobble makes his own individual choices. I do not make the choice for the bobble. What I do is I use a randomizer on the internet and I say, "What are the choices?" and then randomly it picks a choice for the bobble, and that's what the bobble chooses. So I'm not picking.
Okay. All right. Did somebody come around and say that? Because there was somebody that was mad about something else in the comments, and they were just
I don't know.
It was the way the show was titled, and I was like, late breakdown. And they were like, what was the breakdown the whole game? I was like, yeah, but it's the one after Freiermuth scores and they go up and the Steelers go up, in which they couldn't do anything that was the real breakdown. I know the bar was already set low. Let's just put it in the dirt.
It really was. It was set low. All right. So what do you say, Bobble? What do you say? Are the Packers gonna win, or are the Steelers gonna win the game? Bobble says yes. Steelers are gonna win the game.
This is like that octopus that was predicting the World Cup games.
Yes. I look, I'm going to tell you this. If they get their shit together on defense, I think they win the game. And that's the answer. If they play the way they played, forget it. They're not going to win another game.
Oh, yeah, that goes without saying. And I mean, you can't, and that can't be. You can't have a team with like TJ Watt, Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbert, Cam Hayward, Keanu Benton, Derek Harmon. Then you take a look at it in the inside. You got Patrick Queen. You're going to waste all these guys.
Jalen Ramsey,
Cole Holcomb, Jalen Ramsey, Darius Slay, who's been getting picked on too. But geez, he's still better than name the guys that they've had there over the years. He's still a better 2 or 3 in those cases. Porter, Elliott, you name it. Chuck Clark and maybe Jabril Peppers or Juan Thornhill, or they're loaded on multiple levels. They've got to figure something out.
The part of it is I don't even want to put this on Terrell Austin figuring it out. What I'm going to say is there's a lot of guys on here who are very prideful guys, right? You got TJ who's got a lot of pride. Cam Hayward's got a lot of pride. You've got veteran guys like Jalen Ramsey, Patrick Queen. Those people have pride in what they do, and they were embarrassed by what happened the last game. I just think they're going to figure it out. Which is why I say if they do, I think they can win this game. But we'll have to see. I mean, it's also everybody says at some point people go off a cliff, right? Maybe we're just watching the aging of the Steelers defense to the point where they're not as good as we thought they were going to be. I'm not ready to say that yet, but give a couple more games like we had, and I will be.
Here's the thing that gets me, and I'll give a pass on. You had how many games on the road to start this season so far? Just 2 games that were actually played in Pittsburgh versus the other 4 that were all on the road, and one of them on a short week after playing. I'm just sick of the NFL scheduling where they put the Steelers against an AFC North opponent, particularly. It'll be like, hey, let's have them play the Ravens in a defensive slugfest and then send them to play at Cleveland. Or let's have them play against Cleveland, another defensive slugfest, and then send them to Cincinnati. And you wonder why Tomlin's record is the way it is. Try load management at any degree and getting people. You get out of bed after some activity the next day and you're sore, right? And that's Monday. And then it's still creeping into your Tuesday, and you're trying to get some type of game plan and practice together because all you got is one more day after that on Wednesday. Maybe you're just doing a walkthrough, or you end up doing that Thursday on the short trip to Cincinnati or Cleveland or wherever for that Thursday night game. Man, it takes its toll. And I think these guys are just tired, and it's been a lot of travel. It's going to be nice to get back-to-back home games here now and starting it after a little bit of a mini bye. By no means an easy opponent that's going to lay down for them, but I think this is going to help them kind of readjust as we get into the next portion of the season. So, Brian, any closing thoughts, my friend?
Figure that shit out.
that's gonna be the.
I can't live through another game like that.
We can't give any suggestions. This is like the usual thing. Sometimes these teams fall flat. You heard Al Michaels talking about it on the Thursday night. He was like, "Who would have thunk it? This is the NFL every week. Just when you think you have it figured out, something unexpected ends up happening." And that was clearly last Thursday. But it's more these Thursday games than anything where I'm usually shocked or surprised at the outcomes. It's
I just can't deal with another game like that. I need to move in a positive direction, please. I don't want to sit through another one like that. Look, I'm going to tell you, if it's that bad, I'm going to go to bed at halftime.
Okay, Grandpa. Get your beauty rest, apparently. So anyways, I was looking to see if I had any further updates here before we close the show, the last second stuff that's coming through, but I don't see anything other than Dan Orlovsky saying Aaron Rodgers has the third quickest snap to pass time in the NFL at 2.63 seconds. And you wonder why if he continues that on Sunday, Micah Parsons won't be able to breathe on him anywhere, and Broderick Jones will look like a superstar. So it's certainly helping the young offensive line also. They need to be a little bit of bullies and have Jaylen Warren and company hammer the ball so they're also not one-dimensional. And DK, hold on to the football and don't let anybody rip it from you for an interception. That was a heartbreaker.
Yeah, please.
So just the fluky things that ends up happening. Folks, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Leave a rating and review wherever you're watching or listening from. That'll do it for us. Here we go. Steelers, 8:20 Eastern Time, Sunday night, NBC and Peacock. Till then, my name's Joe. His name's Brian. And as we always close the show, we encourage everyone out there to be safe, be good, and we'll catch you later.
We would like to thank you for listening and remind our listeners to follow us on social media and our website, www.steelcityunderground.com.